So I got called for jury duty.
Legit?
Yeah, I just turned 28. And it's the first time I've ever been called for jury duty.
Yeah.
I feel like a real adult.
Is that county or city? It's county, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's your county.
Okay. Yeah.
I got called for our county. So I got called for jury duty.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and so they don't send you, like, because, like, my husband's been called, I think, like, 3 times. Yeah, and he's been called 3 times in Indiana.
Yeah.
He's from Florida.
Yeah.
He turned 18 in Florida. He got called twice in Florida. Alex has been called a ridiculous amount of time for jury duty, and no one knows why. He's never had to go in, though. Every time the trial's been canceled.
The statistics.
I know, it's really weird. And so maybe he's only been called twice in Indiana. I don't remember. But yeah, so they don't send you like a letter anymore. It's a little postcard with a QR code on it.
Oh.
And you have to go on the QR code
Yeah.
and like do a questionnaire. And so I was like, yeah, deal, but I'll do that because like Alex brought it in after work. I set it down. I found it today. It said you have to fill it out within 7 days, or there is possible like legal repercussions. Like you can get, because if you don't respond to like a jury summons, you can get arrested. And I was like, I don't remember when I got this. I've got to respond to the questionnaire
immediately.
I think I got it on Thursday, but when I saw it, I didn't remember when I got it. And I was like, I checked the post date afterwards, after I had the mental breakdown about the fact that I was like, I'm gonna get arrested. Did the questionnaire.
Yes.
The most evil thing they ask is, how long have you lived at your current house? Brosif, I don't know. I don't know. The answer is a while.
My favorite thing about still living at home, in a home that I have only lived in for my entire life, easy.
The hardest thing for me is that we bought my mother's house.
Yes.
And we lived here.
Yes.
Before we bought it.
Yes. So that's a little,
so confusing. And within that time frame, we got married and there was a pandemic.
Yes.
So time for like some of that wasn't really a thing. I have no idea what was going on. Yeah. So it was like, I think 5. Maybe. So I hope. And also they had all of my information. So how do you not know? How do you not know?
Yeah.
Because, like, also, I, like, changed my driver's license and stuff. I'm a registered voter for the county. You would know how long I've lived here.
Yeah.
Because I changed my address. What the heck? Made me fill out this dumb questionnaire. How do you not know? That's kind of like that IRS thing where it's like, we know you owe us an amount of money, but we're not going to tell you which one it is. You got to guess?
Pisses me off
so much.
Ugh.
Anyway, hello. We're Illiterate-ly. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Gina.
I'm Belle.
And we're here to gossip about some book with you.
Yes.
We're so glad you're here.
Hi.
We're here for just a chill gossip session with some friends. Yeah. We read Kindle Unlimited books. We don't love Amazon, but we do love cheap, easy to access books.
Yes.
So, we're currently have read The Kraken's Sacrifice by Katee Robert. Well, I have. Belle has read half of it. Belle had a busy week.
I did.
She had a busy week. It's not a big deal. This is, again, a gossip session with friends. It's all good. Because I am nothing if not obnoxious. And I have an entirely coordinated, detailed summary of every single chapter here for us to go through. So what's going to happen is we are going to talk about the chapters of which Belle has read.
Yes.
And then I'm going to surprise Belle with the information about all of the rest of the chapters. And at the end, she is going to give her rating for the book based on what she read and what I have told her about it.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
But I will give you my rating and like everybody else's rating at the beginning here. So we can kind of get a gist of what's going on. So it's The Kraken Sacrifice by Katee Roberts. It's about a kraken and a human. And if you want to read it, go read it. And then come back here. And we'll talk about it a lot. This is your spoiler content disclaimer, all the things. So spoiler warning, we're going to talk about like literally everything about this book.
Yes.
Okay? We're going to spoil everything. The ending, the middle, the beginning, all the things. The worst parts, the best parts, all of it. The content warning is this is an adult book. Also, we're talking about adult things because we're adults and we use a little bit of adult language. So please be warned about that. Actual content warnings that are listed in the book. Abuse, neglect, spousal death, explicit sex, vomit, pregnancy termination, grief, body shaming, reference to age play, dollification, and use of unconventional gag. So those are all listed within the book. So there probably are some more in there as well. I would look on Katee Roberts' website, which is listed within the book and will also be listed in the description. Should you want to make sure just in case. But with that, ready to get into it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start with star ratings. Amazon has a 3.9 star with 8,754 ratings. Goodreads has a 3.4 with 23,884 ratings.
That's kind of low.
A little low.
For like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of books, even if I give them low, they still got a high rating. And I'm like, how'd that happen?
I would say that I was surprised at how low it was just based on how much I hear about Katee Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Then I read the book. I gave it a 2.
Yeah.
And we usually do a 5-sentence review. So here's my 5-sentence review.
Okay.
I love the bi representation because my people deserve that.
Period.
I hate the constant reminder of very present character traits in spelled out ways, showing that Katee Roberts does not trust her readers to keep context at all. The mini cliffhangers at the end of almost every chapter make me want to pull my hair out. This felt like 2 weird kids in your high school class who start dating and then post 2 detailed Facebook messages about it to each other. Any of the lore dropping about the world made actually no bearing on the story, and that ticked me off more than anything because we learned some cool political dynamics.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
I will say, so I got up to chapter 12, so I read 11 of the chapters. I think there's 15? Or it's 20? There's 20.
Yeah.
There's 20 chapters, so I'm about halfway. My Kindle says I'm 58% of the way in. I right now would give it a downward leaning. It was a 3.5 earlier, and now it's a 3. So
Interesting.
we'll see where it goes. Okay.
I have to preface any of this by saying that I tried to read Neon Gods by Katee Roberts, and I hated it so much I DNF'd it. I don't like Katee Roberts' writing, and I haven't. But I do like monster romance. That was a myth retelling of Hades and Persephone's, which I tend to like, but I have disliked a lot of them. So I chalked it up to that. As opposed to the writing. So I was thinking that a monster romance by her would be good. No.
Well, I read the second one in that series. I never read the first one, but I read the second one.
Electric Idol.
Yeah, and it was with, because I feel like the Hades and Persephone sometimes, like with retellings, sometimes it's put in such a box that like it's kind of boring, and I'm like, I know what's gonna, like, it's just like meh, you know. And I don't even remember who it was. I think it was like Aries and somebody for the
Electric Idol.
Electric Idols. And
you were gonna say American Idol.
I was like, Idol? American Idol. That was where my brain went.
I love it.
But it wasn't exactly like, there was no like preset kind of thing, and I liked it. I liked it really well. So
we both have an experience with Katee Robert going into this. So that kind of does sway our rating a little bit.
Yeah.
So in this first chapter, we learn that Catalina is a disappointment to everyone and getting fired instead of groveling for a place. After getting fired, instead of groveling for a place to live where she can't pay rent, she signs a 7-year demon contract with Azazriel. I mean, fair.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. When I read this first chapter, I thought it had a lot of promise because I identified with Catalina.
Yeah.
There's a place where she said she's looking for someone who will never decide I'm too much and withdraw their attention and love. Ouch. Yeah, felt that one. The mom who never reacts to what you do and has a low opinion of. I did that thing where the meme, what is that? Is this fucking play about us? That's me. That was me in this first chapter. He was like, yeah, he's scary, but he's nowhere near as scary as my mom, who's so cold she might as well have been carved from ice. It doesn't matter what I do or say because she won't give me the smallest reaction. Whether he knows it or not, he's saving me from having to prove her low opinion of me correct. Again, Catalina, stop fucking talking. But I can't. I never can. Not when my nerves are strung tight like this. It's not fear. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, that's me. I feel that so hard.
So, I have a trigger warning for everybody for this. If you have mommy issues, wholeheartedly, this book.
Not for you.
No. Unless you want pain.
Yeah.
Because
she mentions it in
all the time.
Every chapter.
All the time.
And that's what I mean when Katee Roberts does not trust her readers to keep context. We know that cat has mommy issues. You do not have to mention it every 3 freaking sentences. It is unnecessary and annoying. You have to trust your readers with at least a little bit of common sense. Every single time.
Yeah. And even if it's not devil's advocate, if it's not trusting, if it's just to drive it home, it drove home to the point where it was uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
It just made her nothing.
Yeah.
She was nothing else but issues.
Yeah. She no self-worth. No, it was just so sad.
It was literally nothing, and it gets worse at the end.
No.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. There was a wild amount of emphasis on size in the first chapter.
There was?
Yeah.
I missed that. I was too bad. I was crying about my mom. I missed the size thing. Don't worry, she's not watching to know.
She's not.
The way that we were reading for this podcast, and then I was having flashbacks of mentioning the podcast in front of my mom, and her being completely silent and never looking at me when I mentioned it, so she could avoid talking about it at all costs.
Oh, that laugh hurt.
I have to laugh so I don't cry. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Realm travel was kind of cool.
The realm travel was cool.
Yeah.
So in chapter 2,
That was all of it.
Yeah.
Chapter 1.
That's chapter 1. Chapter 2, Kat is stuck in a room for a couple days. She decides to break out, and she meets Romanu, who walks with her and tells her that the castle is sentient-ish. Then instead of taking her back to her room, the castle takes her to a canal where she meets the Kraken King, who is rude, and she decides she hates that dude.
Yes.
Which was deserved.
Yeah.
He's like, you're unimpressive. And she was like, all right, well, I hate you.
Also, why would you think one person who was like, what are you, is your welcoming party?
Yeah, that's true.
What indication gave that?
It's literally in the second like chapter that I'm already like, all right, it's already getting a little old that she's constantly told she's a disappointment and a problem. Girl, just say I'm a wrench. Ouch. Because she says, and I'm a wrench. No reason for that to sting. I'm the problem child, the unruly one, the daughter, and the girlfriend and employee who can't manage to get anything right. The endless letdown. Bro, Sif. Chill out. Because she's talking about being a wrench in a plan.
Yeah.
She's already talked about it 3 times in this chapter. Shut up.
Yeah. It just gets sad.
I'm sorry. If you are talking to yourself like this in your head all day, how do you get anything done?
You don't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So she can't.
Yeah.
This isn't how you function as a being.
I will say though, obviously she wasn't functioning because she lost her job and she got is getting kicked out of her house. So obviously not functioning well. Retweet. But also the fact that nope, the thought went away. I thought I could catch it. It ran faster. Got it.
You got it? Go ahead.
Got it. So she has nothing to do but be in her head.
True.
And so it makes it worse because normally you could work or do something or have some type of task to complete, and she asks for it later on, but she's just I need something to do, I am trapped, I need she just wants something to do because she knows that her thoughts are not okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just
too close to home.
For me, it's the thing of I don't know if it's just not the way that my thoughts work, but I have severe anxiety. So this is not, I have never been logical enough for it to spiral in the exact same direction
every single time.
But also she's I'm the letdown, the employee, the same thing, it's saying the same thing 8 different ways.
Okay.
And when I have anxiety, that's not how my thoughts work. I go from I'm a disappointment to I'm a fucking alien. I must be so insane. I must be so weird that there has to be something incredibly wrong with me. I'm an alien. Your anxiety is never rational enough for you to continually build the same sentence 8 different ways. This feels like when your teacher is your paper needs to be
the same thing,
6 pages long, and you're I'm gonna reword this sentence 3 more times just because I need this to be just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like a lot of times when she spirals. It's not because she's spiraling in a way that actually makes sense with anxiety. To me, it's just the same thing. is like not, because it's not getting worse, you know? Like the anxiety, that would make, what you're saying would make sense. If it was like a tunnel, like if it was getting worse, like if she was like left alone and like she was like, I'm a disappointment, and then like it slowly got worse and it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. Sense. She is saying the exact same thing from start to finish.
Okay.
Always, she is simply an unlovable disappointment. And she says it about 800 different ways, but it's always the exact same thing. It's never like, I'm an unlovable disappointment. And then it's like, oh, I am like, I'm so like strange, or like, this is what's unlovable about me, or like this. That's what the other thing is, it's always weirdly vague.
Yeah. Weirdly
vague about like, I'm just unlovable and I'm such a quirky weirdo. What? What? Because my anxiety is always really specific. My anxiety always tells me exactly what is wrong with me.
Yeah, that's true.
And most of the people with anxiety know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact which of my toes is the weirdest. And I have thought about it far too often. And I know that everybody else has a feeling like that, where you're like, I don't know why I know so much about that specific thing that's really weird about me. But I do know. Because I've thought about it too much because I've got anxiety. So if that's like what is happening, if she's gotten an anxiety disorder from this is not how it should be represented, because this is not how it works.
I get that.
Which might be why this pisses me off so much.
I get that.
Because it doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
It just feels like, don't forget I'm pitiable. You need to pity me. Pity me.
And like, there were times that it could go deeper. Like, could completely spiral.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see where you're coming from now. I will say, like, a really cool thing was when she was looking out of the building and it was like in a legit city. I thought that was cool.
I liked it.
Because instead of just like lava, like in my brain, it's like lava caves and stuff, you know?
I was laughing because I like the way that she described it. She's like, I don't know, it was like tall buildings and short buildings. I don't know what a city looks like. I loved it so much. Because like that's the kind of setting that I see in my head. I don't know, it looks like a city. I don't know. I don't go to the city very often. I don't know. It always turns into those like black shapes. Like,
yeah,
like a silhouette.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what she's like, I don't know, it looks like city.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting idea though.
I did like that. Yeah. That's very interesting.
How last comment on chapter 2. How do you like, or what are your opinions on tentacle hair?
I don't know. But I don't hate it. But I like to grab hair. It grabs back.
No, thank you.
Good grip. You get good grip.
I put hate the tentacle hair idea.
Interesting.
I also don't like
don't like tentacle beards.
Yeah.
Can't do tentacle beards. The tentacle hair makes more sense to me. I like it from like a creating a creature standpoint.
It is simply too many tentacles. In my brain, this man has like 100 tentacles. And I don't like it. Like he's got like a good amount, like 40 up top and then like 60 on bottom.
Oh, he's got like a slick back.
Yeah, full of tentacles.
I don't hate it.
I hate it.
At least he's never gonna go bald. He'll always have his tentacles.
What if they like?
They don't like fall off.
What if they get a receding hairline? Why would you do that?
I don't. Oh no, I was thinking like his forehead just continues and then his tentacles like turn into like the top of his tentacle. You know, like how like the tentacles on the front?
Yeah.
It's like that on his head. And the suckers are underneath.
That's even worse.
I like it. Somebody draw it.
If he was like a squid man, I would like that. I like that. It's the tentacles on top and the tentacles on bottom. I don't like that.
I don't understand what his face looks like.
We never get a description, do we?
He has like a humanoid face because they like kiss normally. And she talks about his nose at one point, I think.
Mm.
But he has black eyes.
Yeah.
Because they talk about his eyes a lot.
Yeah. The inky eyes.
I don't know.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. Okay, as we go into chapter 3, Thane goes to the throne room for the auction, picks Kat, who tests him immediately, but feels the pull to keep her despite the plan to never breed her or even see her. Also, he has a husband who was killed by a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
We love a bad king.
We do. We do. I wonder if that, because his territory, whatever it's called, I wonder if it's all just kind of like everybody's open, like, because like it doesn't normally to me when like you would address that they are bi, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in this world that Katee Roberts has created, I think everyone is pan. I think being pan is just a thing. I don't think sexuality is necessarily like I don't think there is a heteronormativity.
Yes.
In this.
Yes. Which
I am just assigning him the bi label as a bi person because I am a selfish bitch.
I love it.
I do believe he is, like, I think everyone is just, I think queer actually is the norm within Katee Roberts' realms. And I do believe she has established that that is true for all of her realms. But I'm not positive. I would have to double check. But I just think that's fun.
Yeah. He will be getting her pregnant. I don't know. I didn't get to that part.
Humans being magical conductors is like a weirdly common thing.
Really?
Yeah, like them being like unable. It's because it's like this weird thing that like humans are unable to access their magic, but they're like a battery. Is like a really common thing in fantasy, and I hate it. That is not a Katee Roberts thing. That is a common trope in general fantasy, like regular fantasy, fantasy romance, all fantasy, and I hate it. That's why there's no humans in my book.
In the alien books, they are always compatible with humans, and their species is always dying, and so they always have them for babies. There's no, like, conduit kind of thing, but they're just breedable.
Yeah, this is, like, the air is stronger if it's half human, because humans are, like, conduits of magic.
Which logically doesn't make sense. Even thinking about demigods doesn't make sense.
It kind of makes it honestly does make sense, because it's the idea that like all creatures have magic, but like every other creature expends their magic because they use it, but humans are unable to use their magic, so it's essentially like a storage system, a battery. I do love the no force or harm rule that Azazrael puts in all of his.
If it was followed.
It is followed. It's Kat who doesn't enforce it. Correct. Because Azazrael is like, hey, this is a thing. Romanu also enforces it. Thane also enforces it. Kat's like, I'm fine. Because once again, she thinks she's worthless.
Yeah.
Which is a whole thing through the whole book. Trust me. Yeah. Kat and Thane are going to his home. Romano shows up to bargain a once-weekly solo check-in with Kat for an underwater breathing bracelet that I assume is the dead husband's because of the way that Thane reacts. Kat also can't swim. Fun fact. She also passes out when they make it to the right place, and Thane's yelling at her to get up. Yeah, dumbass. The pressure's not working great.
Yeah. No. Homegirl got decompression sickness.
She got the bends.
Yeah.
She was right about. Chapter 5. Thane is reprimanded by both As, which is what I'm going to refer to him as, because his name is really wrong, and his sibling, who, Embry, who heals Kat, as threatens Thane's territory, and we find out that Thane does not want kids. Dead husband made the bracelet.
Yep.
And Kat makes a pass at her husband.
Yes.
At her owner? I don't know. Thane. She makes a
contract holder man.
Contract holder man.
Was his husband a witch?
We never find out what his husband was. His husband was not human, though.
Okay.
I don't think. Because there's like indications that his husband interacted with humans.
Yeah.
But his husband was not human. I do believe his husband was Kraken. And then, or a different species of some kind, but not, I don't believe was human. And then Thane cut off contact with all other species once. Or maybe he was Kraken and him getting killed by a dragon is the reason he cut off contact with all other species. I don't know.
Yeah.
You never find out what he was. She doesn't tell you.
Do we find out why he was killed?
No.
We just know it was a dragon.
Just know it was a dragon. You don't even know which dragon.
No.
You don't even know how.
We know it's not Soul. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Wild.
I also said that Az is giving mob boss energy.
I love Az.
I do too. I want a book about him. I love him so much. The kid things make sense, and I like their conversation in that chapter. Chapter 6, the spice has arrived.
Like a freight train. It came out of nowhere.
There's begging and a passed out boneless chicken wing.
Mm-hmm.
Who is then bored out of her mind, since Thane obviously regrets it. I fully hate the trope of you're literally meant to do nothing here, and we all planned on that. There's not a single being in existence that wants nothing to do.
No.
It's one thing to have a lot of time to relax.
Yes.
There is not a singular being that wants nothing to do. No books, no entertainment, nothing to do.
No.
Why it is a trope to have that happen, I have no idea. It makes no sense, and it feels incredibly lazy.
Yeah.
Well, you're an honored guest here. What?
For what?
Why? For 7 years?
Yeah. I don't get why they don't have why the conversation of Catalina being used to make the next heir, because like she says she doesn't want to be pregnant, but like, well, can you do this so we can have the next heir, like plan it so it's like year 6, that way she doesn't have to raise the kid, you know what I mean?
To be honest, I don't get the whole, like, she doesn't want to be pregnant because she's convinced that even pregnancy she'll like mess up the kid. She like is very adamant that she cannot have a kid because the second the kid comes out, she's messed it up. She's
That's wild.
Adamant about the fact that she can't. It's even worse. Trust me, it gets worse.
Oh no.
So because Thane is hiding in chapter 7, Embry calls Thane out on hiding. Thane then goes to check on Kat, who is in the kitchen and threatened by the cook. Immediately, Thane decides to take her to a tower residence. Kat admits she's scared of water, and Thane fights his attraction to her. I like that it mentions that he actually has stuff to do, that Thane actually has a job.
Yeah.
But it also highlights that she shouldn't have nothing to do.
Correct.
And I like that Embry is kind of a point of order and gives good advice. Embry becomes entirely irrelevant.
Yeah.
They are mentioned. I am not using the Z pronouns. I hate them. Okay. I would. This is a fictional character.
Yeah.
If they were a real person, I would use their pronouns. This is a fictional character. Katee Roberts uses a zer pronoun. I hated seeing it every time I saw it. I didn't know I hated the letter Z until this happened. I also didn't realize how many times we use pronouns when writing books.
Yes.
I hate the they, zer pronoun, mostly because zer was used in place of their and them. Like theirs and them, which was confusing, and I didn't like that. Because they needed 3 pronouns, and Katee only gave them 2.
Yeah.
So I will refer to Embry as them, because they are non-binary. If they were a real person again, I would refer to them with their preferred pronouns. They're a book character, so I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to trip over my words every single time I do if I try to do that. So, Embry is, from this point, like, from a little bit further in, entirely irrelevant. Fully cast aside, never mentioned. Well, is like, partially mentioned. They form no relationship with Kat, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
They fully abscond to nowhere.
Out into the ether.
Yeah, they like fully just kind of like fuck off. And there's nothing. And I hated that. They seemed like a very reasonable person. And they keep saying, like, the collective of everyone is saying, Thane and Embry, they're really close. They seem like they love each other a lot. And then you get this one chapter.
Yeah.
And no other interaction between the two of them. No other advice. Like, not really anything else. I hate it.
It doesn't make sense. Because you would think, both being royalty, they would have to interact more and we would see something.
Yeah.
Even just like a confidant.
They're together almost every day.
Yeah. Wild.
Also, Uppies?
Uppies. I low-key thought it was funny. But like in my brain there wasn't that big of a height difference.
I don't, because they then talk about how gigantic this man is. This Kraken is.
I hate the trope where the man hates that he's attracted or desires a woman.
Fully.
That is one of the reasons I hate, like, enemies to lovers. Rivals to lovers, recently learned I enjoy.
Yeah, that's fun.
Rivals to lovers, love. Enemies to lovers, no.
The fact that he fully convinces himself that she is a siren at one point.
Yes. He's like, she's got to be a witch.
It's disgusting. Moving on to chapter 8. Kat starts to panic underwater, and Thane responds to her earlier joke of sex stopping the panic by fingering her until they hit the tower. He then uses his mouth to make her finish, to leave her entirely alone in a seemingly abandoned tower with no furniture.
Yeah. Most of the rooms, no furniture. The one room with furniture, dust. This is about later chapters, but then in Thane's point of view, he's like, she must not have seen the one bedroom closer because it was hard to see. How? What?
That felt like I didn't understand that.
No.
It made no sense. But also, like, she had to, like, trek up a billion stairs.
Yeah. He also just, like, left her. And, like, just leaving. Like. But then, like. He's also, like. He's upset with himself that he likes her. But then does things to act like he likes her. And then ignores her. And then doesn't, like.
It's all about him.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the mixed messages he's actually sending.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he does all this and he's like, I can't believe I like her. What about her?
Yeah.
You just did that to her. What about her? Nothing.
It's very confusing.
Chapter 9, Thane's been avoiding Kat for a week.
Yeah.
When Romano shows up, needing admittance to through the wards to the tower, Thane finds Kat in the same ripped dress, in a dusty bedroom, only having plain bread because his staff thought she was an outcast. He dropped off essentially on a rock.
Yep.
They're not in the wrong. He's an idiot.
Yep.
He fixes that, and Romano threatens to take Kat away. Kat asks to stay because she's an idiot. Yeah. Thane still doesn't see her. Yeah. Which is disgusting. Chapter 10. We're at Kat being bored. Because, again, so after a few weeks,
mm-hmm.
she's finally gotten food and some clothes, and Romano has been in and out every few days. She goes back down to the pool to provoke Thane into only sex. It works, and it's good. He makes her finish and leaves again. Is anyone surprised at this point?
No.
It's so boring. Yeah. Chapter 11, Thane. He's decided to stay at the tower, actually. So he stays, instead of fully disappearing, he just disappears from where she's at and then comes back. And, they share a meal and a real conversation where Thane learns that Kat just wants people to be around, and wears a mask. He admits he cares.
It was very sad to me when Catalina was like, it's not harm if it's normal.
Yeah.
That was very sad.
It had been said multiple different ways before, though.
Yes, but I guess I don't look at it like that. Like, it was a reiteration of everything, but, like, seeing it in actually of, like, oh, this technically isn't harm, it's just base level, was sad.
I feel like it is sad. I'm pissed that she had to say it.
Yeah.
Not that it was said. I'm pissed, like, it had been said multiple different ways before because it was harm. And she was clearly seeing it as normal, but every time it had happened, because he had broken the contract multiple times at this point.
Yes.
And every time she had said, but it's normal.
Yeah.
And no one had taken her seriously. And that is so disgusting.
Yeah.
No one had seen a problem with it.
No.
And now somebody's decided to take her seriously. And he still, I hate this. The, like, need to be a martyr in this situation for Thane is so gross. Anticipation looks through me, but quickly followed by guilt. I shouldn't be enjoying this woman. Her presence is something to be endured for the sake of the territory. She's not a plaything to entertain myself with. She's not a plaything at all.
No,
First of all,
she's a human. She's a being.
She's a being, and with her own thoughts and feelings. She's not a plaything at all.
Yeah.
2, endured for the sake of your territory? Ouch, bro. 3, I shouldn't be enjoying this woman. You can enjoy her presence and still miss your husband. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. It's okay if you still feel guilt for that. Making her the, like, the bad guy, the tool to your downfall, because she is enjoyable, sucks. Like, that sucks. You going through grief is fine. Kat suffering because of that is not.
Correct.
And that's what's been going on.
The one thing that I have highlighted is, so he's telling her, like, he didn't bring her to the tower to punish her. And in his head, he's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I don't know why I've done anything in this woman's presence that I have. And it's like, that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
To be treating her like this.
No.
Like, none of it is okay. Okay.
At this point, they're both pissing me off. Kat finally admits she feels trapped and refuses to learn how to swim because she's terrified of water. Thane admits she would be eaten if she swims alone, so she is kind of trapped. Then he takes her to an oasis cave.
That was chapter 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
An oasis cave. What's
that?
An
oasis cave.
Yeah.
So it's like this beautiful, like, I guess there's like reverse waterfalls and shit going on in it.
Is that what he's talking about? He's like, I'll ensure she's with someone who truly cares, even if it's only for a night?
Yeah. And so
this is the night?
Yeah.
Okay, this is officially where I know nothing. So I'm here. Okay. So, what they do at the oasis?
There is one highlight that I made in chapter 12. Thane studies me as intently as he always seems to, as if every word out of my mouth is the God's honest truth. How horrifying. I get that one. It's kind of like, have you ever been telling a story and then you realize nobody's actually listening to you, and then you start saying batshit crazy stuff?
No.
Well, have you ever been, like, talking, like, in a group, like, you're talking, and then, like...
I just get quiet and stop talking.
Well, then you're boring. Those of us that are interesting start to say dumb shit. Like, and that's how I got the bird pregnant. So that people start paying attention to you again. And somebody will go, what? And it'd be like, oh, so you're listening again. Do you want to finish the rest of my story? I'm sorry that we're not all elevated beings. I'm a petty bitch. I want you to listen to the story that I had.
I love it.
I've done it to you.
Have I noticed?
What do you mean?
Like, when you say it, do I start going, huh?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I just also on a regular basis say weird stuff too, so, like, I don't know that you've noticed that it's a thing. But yeah.
I haven't noticed that it's that out of normal.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Period.
So chapter 13, he brings her there. So they, like, go into this, like, he essentially has to swim with her. They go, and they, like, pop up into this, like, I think it's like a crystal cave, essentially.
Okay.
And then she's like, wow. And then he's like, this is where I'm going to teach you how to learn how to swim. And there's, like, this hot spring that, like, is, like, essentially, like, deep, but it's not, like, open. Because she's scared of the open ocean. Yeah. And, like, getting eaten. And he's like, valid.
I get that.
I hate that he's, like, valid but not valid.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you would get eaten, but no, you won't. But, like, I keep you safe. And she's like, but that's the point, is I want to be able to do stuff on my own. Anyway. And so he takes her there to learn how to swim in the hot spring. Convinces her to do that. They talk about trauma again, but this time it's, like, a little bit more real. He admits he cares for her, actually, to her face.
Wow.
And then they smooch.
Oh, just smooch?
Yes. Because that's, like, the end. This is the beginning of all the cliffhangers.
Oh. Okay.
I am, in fact, an annoying reader because I'm ready to scream. It feels like every other sentence affirms that he has lost the love of his life and could never ever pick her.
Correct.
And I hate the love that is inconvenient to me, so it must be their fault. The sirens thing earlier is an example of that. So many, like, there's just so many sentences. Oh. So in this one he goes, it's ridiculous, absurd. One would think I'm smitten with this confusing human, which I most certainly am not.
But he just said he liked her.
Yeah, that's why you... yeah. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. So then, he contradicts himself within sentences. Chapter 14. The kiss turns into foreplay. And Thane tries to convince, Kat she's perfect. And it doesn't work.
Perfect for him or perfect as a person?
Perfect. So, I hate them so much. Okay, my rating actually might be a 1. I hate them so much. Reliving this book is actually horrific. So he's like, she takes off her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, good, he's like, goddess, you're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I almost argue with him. He's wrong, after all. Is this Gossip Girl? Yeah. XOXO, Gossip Girl. I said, good God, shut up. First of all, you're supposed to be a grown woman.
Yeah, because she's late 20s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A fully grown woman. Yes. I don't know a singular grown woman that believes with their whole chest what a man says. Whether he is a man or a kraken.
Facts.
2. I don't care. I don't care what is going on. I have to believe. In my heart of hearts. I have to believe. When you get old enough.
Yeah.
Because, this is a teenager shit to do.
Yeah.
Early 20s. Maybe early 20s. When you get old enough, you can go, well, he's not fully right, but I do have really good thighs. You know? There's something.
Yeah.
You gotta give me something, bro.
Yeah.
You cannot... I can't like you if you hate yourself that much. How do you expect a reader to like a character if you hate yourself that much?
Yeah.
You sound like the goblin in my head when I was 14. You do not sound like a grown woman who is old enough to consent to having sex with this man-ish thing.
Being.
Thank you. Creature. It just doesn't sound, no.
It gets to the point where it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel bad. And I'm worrying that it's not going to end on a good note.
And then in another thing in the chapter, she goes, it's mine, so I love it out of spite towards everyone who acts like I shouldn't. This sounds like every MLM girl boss post I've ever read. I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you loved your body, you would have been like, he's not all right, but I have the most perfect left shin I've ever seen. It's perfect. That shin, it's great. Everything else could use some work. Get out of here. No.
Yeah.
You don't love your body.
No.
You don't. Because you don't love anything about yourself. You've very clearly demonstrated that throughout the entire book, which is devastating news. I don't want to know.
Hmm.
I hate that. I hate the betrayal of that. Instead of healing at all, we're here.
Yeah.
Because then he goes, "You're perfect." She says, "I don't believe you. I love my body despite what everybody says about it." Then they do the nasty. And
does he leave?
Nope. Thane immediately, after they have sex, tells her he doesn't want to forget his husband. Immediately.
Any follow-up?
Kat instantly agrees.
Interesting. Okay.
Chapter 16. Kat tries to avoid intimacy after thinking Thane's gonna run.
Yeah.
Because he has said, "I don't want to forget my husband." So she's gonna run. Also, like, he may, she's a disappointment, for the love of God. Again, she's a disappointment. Everybody else has run out on her. Literally, she says, my whole, she's like, he won't stay. Or he's like, I'm going, but I like you. She says, well, my whole life has proven otherwise. And I said, say that one more time. Say that one more time. I swear. And then they go back to his room, which he has in the tower, and it's really, really nice.
Where's it at?
You're asking me about setting. I don't know. It's in the tower. Don't worry about it. It's got pools in it so he can bathe and stuff, and it's really nice. So they can be together. And Thane says that Brant wasn't perfect. His husband wasn't perfect. And they play Kraken chess, which is essentially just chess. But Katee Roberts was like, I can't be basic, so I have to come up with something else, which wasn't really anything else. Kat does say something I agree with, which is that board games are the best way to connect with other people, and I fully agree with that. This is also when you find out that Kat has had girlfriends before, which is how you find out she's also queer. So we love that.
I will say in chapter 1, there was mention of a girlfriend.
For Kat? I missed that.
So sorry.
Chapter 17. Thane gives her the information that Brain wasn't perfect, but he didn't need to be perfect to be loved, which is a good message, but not from these people because they suck. They decided to take it one day at a time with their relationship.
So what changed?
Nothing.
He just decided he wanted to try a relationship.
No. They're not going to try a relationship. He just decided he's going to stop finding his attraction to her. And then he's like, it's unfair to ask her to stay after her 7 years is up. And neither of them wants to get their heart broken because she might leave after 7 years. Because she's like, hey, I'm only here for 7 years. And he's like, we'll just take it one day at a time. So they're not in a committed relationship. Then they have a little date, sort of. And they go to bed together.
What does he like about her? That's one thing that I don't like in any book. When it's just attraction. I need something that you like about this person.
That's so, yeah.
It could be as simple as they're kind. You know? And if that's what you want, that's what you want.
You can't like anything about Kat. Because
we know nothing. She's sad.
She doesn't like anything about herself, so how are you supposed to like anything about her? Because the second you think you like anything about her, she's like, oh, well, I gotta get rid of that.
Nope, can't like that.
Also, he, like, gets mad when she's, like, she talks about people that have hurt her, and he's like, I'm gonna kill him. And it's like, those feel so hollow. It feels like when my 2-year-old stances up. It feels like when my 2-year-old acts like she's gonna throw hands. She can try. Yeah. She's 2 feet tall. She weighs 26 pounds. She can try. Ain't gonna do much, but she can try. Also, this is super nitpicky, but I have distinct hatred for this specific sentence. I don't know why. I know it's petty. The specific sentence, my faults are legion. What the fuck is that? I'm sorry. We're trying not to... I'm not supposed to curse very much. What the fuck is that? I love words. I am a writer. Katee Roberts, jail.
Straight to jail.
Never, ever, ever put those words on my screen ever again. Do you understand me? That's disgusting.
There was a word that I never knew before, and I'm like, why are we using it? There were many words that I was like, why are we using this? A sconce?
Which one?
That one? Askins.
Oh, that's like...
Never heard that in my life.
It's
something. Never heard it. Also,
an
shirked.
attitude or look of suspicion or disapproval.
Also, shirked.
Oh, like shirk your duty.
What?
Like throw it away. My mom likes that word.
I've never heard that word in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know that.
I'll be sure to tell my mom at Easter.
I will. I'm gonna walk in and be like, I got beef.
You might hear that because as you heard me threaten my brother earlier, he did shirk his duty of being a son and calling my mother.
No one is shocked there.
No, not at all.
There was just like lots of really big words for no reason sometimes.
My faults are legion is that should never have graced anybody's screen. I cannot. Where were you? Okay, chapter 18. Their bliss bubble bursts because they're like dating and stuff. Bliss bubble bursts when Kat realizes she's pregnant. They contact Romano for termination, which is supported by all parties. Romano brings a witch for termination, which is done by potions with very little fuss. Yeah. God, I wish our healthcare worked that way. Thane is there the whole time, but begins to fear for his position. Oh, this is chapter 19. He begins to fear for his position, putting those he cares for in danger, as he should have insisted as king she keep the pregnancy. So he's freaking out, essentially, I got my husband killed, and now I'm putting her at risk because I should have been you need to keep the pregnancy, even though she was I can't be pregnant. And he was all right, deal.
Yeah,
I'm fine with whatever you. He was very much I'm fine with whatever you do. You can keep the pregnancy or get rid of it. I don't care. And she was okay, deal. He's then kind of goes into a spiral while she's sleeping. I got my husband killed. I put Emery's position in danger by her getting pregnant. I put her in danger because I should have kept her and made her keep the pregnancy, but also her body was in danger by being pregnant, and it's this weird spiral that I didn't really like. And then she wakes up and he's do you want to go home? Do you want to go home? I technically put you in harm. Do you want to break the contract and go home? She's
how do you put her in harm? Theoretical harm?
Emotional distress? I don't know. Punch her in the face and then ask her. I don't know. And then she's like, I'm going to be the bigger person, and I'm not going to take this as a rejection. Now? In the last chapter, homegirl? In the last chapter. All right. They admit their love for each other. Kat agrees to stay with Thane. Here's the deal. She agrees to break the demon contract, stay with Thane. Thane immediately abdicates the throne.
What?
He immediately abdicates the throne.
Why?
To Embry, and the two are gonna go live in a seaside village somewhere so Embry can rule, because they were essentially ruling him anyway. So this whole thing was entirely unnecessary.
Yes.
Because, guess what? Thane was the king. He could have abdicated at any point.
Yeah.
It was in it. They talk about how easy the handover is because Embry was essentially running the place anyway. It's 3 sentences, Belle.
Does it?
Yeah. For Thane to abdicate the throne. The whole reason that they had this book. My rating's 1.
I'm very disappointed.
Do you want to know what the epilogue is? Yeah. They go back to court to present Kat. That's it.
Like the royal court? They just go and say,
yeah,
this is my wife?
They go to visit. Because they ended on good terms.
And they just live happily ever after on the seaside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because she's no longer under demon contract. And Embry. No, I think maybe she decided to live out the demon contract so that, like, that part is fulfilled. Because they didn't want, like, to look weak. But then also there's a point. Because, like, it's this idea that, like, this demon contract helps them, like, stay equal with everybody.
Yeah.
Embry talks about taking a human as a, like, consort or like a lover, or as a, like, person, a partner.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for, partner.
Why?
Then why didn't Embry do the
That's
option?
what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, why wasn't there a conversation about Embry and Kat getting together to make an heir?
Because this whole book was pointless. Kat doesn't want kids, so she couldn't make the heir, which is fine. It's okay to not want kids.
Yeah.
Not want to be pregnant. That's fine. That's good. That's what. I mean, she needs therapy, but that's fine. So her and Thane are perfect together. Whatever. She should have never been there in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the book. What's your rating?
If that's how it ends, probably a 2. That makes me sad. I was excited.
I don't know why. I hated them from, like, chapter 4. I was like,
No, in one of my notes, I was like, this man better grovel. Did he ever grovel?
No.
That makes me
He didn't. He, like, tells her that she should, like, care that harm comes to her, but he did not grovel.
Ew. Does he ever say sorry for how he treated her?
Not in a memorable way. So maybe, but not significantly. I think yes, but I think it's like a one-liner.
We hate to see it.
We hate to see it. Do you want to move on to book news?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 book newses.
Ooh.
But it's kind of a weird one. I'm gonna mention one that I think people should go look up and talk about, but I personally, for my own sanity, cannot.
Okay.
And then we're gonna actually talk about the second one. Okay.
Number 1.
All right. So the first one we're gonna talk about is, I want to acknowledge this situation because it's really serious, and it's something that I think people should know about.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you're not constantly on commentary and booktube, then you're not getting recommended the videos that I'm getting recommended on YouTube. And you wouldn't possibly know about this. But I, because of my mental health and where I am in life, I cannot explore this situation without harming myself. That is a book called Daddy's Little Toy by Tori Woods.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about it?
No.
Okay, I figured. So, the author, as far as I know, has actually been arrested for child essay material because of the graphic and horrific nature that is within this book. It is fictional material, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
However, what is in it is so awful that it is considered terrible enough that, as far as I'm aware, the author has been arrested. Yeah. So, being a mom,
Yeah.
I don't do well with cases like this, so I avoid that. I'm a true crime girly, and I avoid child cases as well, for my own sanity. So I cannot handle finding out more right now. But I do encourage others to educate themselves and think critically and find reputable sources and maybe find out more about this situation. Because it is not just commentary, but really thinking critically about literature we consume and how we consume it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did think that it was important to mention, just because it is it was classed as like a dark romance fetish book.
And so was like one of them like actually underage in the book?
As far as I'm aware, it's supposed to be an age gap romance, but the male protagonist notices the female protagonist when she is 3. That's the extent of what I know. As far as I'm aware, it does get worse than that.
Was this independently published?
It is a self-published book. Yeah. It is a self-published book, and I do believe she's Australian.
She. Interesting.
Yeah. So, don't know a ton about it.
Yeah.
Some of that information could be incorrect because I just couldn't handle looking into it more.
Yeah.
But I do encourage other people to look into it more if you have the mental ability to do so. The book news we're going to talk about is a lot sillier, kind of, but also leads to a little bit more of an interesting subject, I think.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about Larry Reads. So she is a booktuber. She makes content on YouTube. I watch her content on YouTube. I like her content on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't know she made TikToks, but she recently had a TikTok that blew up in a really negative way.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, some context first.
Yeah.
She made a TikTok saying that she had DNF'd a Rena Kent book called Kiss the Villain.
Mm-hmm.
In that video, she explains why she didn't like that specific book. She mentions that a lot of Rena Kent books to her are starting to feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
She uses like the same sarcastic, caustic tone that she usually does. She's like very like, my life is over.
Yeah.
She's similar. She kind of speaks similarly to me. very hyperbole, like, kind of thing. And then video did fine. It was, like, not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So the next video is what gets Larry or Larissa in trouble.
Okay.
So she puts this, like, dramatic, like, banging on windows, like, grayscale, like, film showing that Rena Kent, like, unfollowed her on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's very, like, 2010s meme style, where she's, like, showing all her, like, Rena Kent books, which is a lot. Like, she has a ton. And the God of Fury tattoo she has, which is a Rena Kent book, she has, like, a quote from that book on her wrist. This goes insane. Like, it gets so many views, and she eventually has to turn the comments off, though, because they're so horrible to her.
Why?
Yeah. So, there's a bunch of people saying that she was wrong to do this. And then a bunch of, like, these videos pop up saying that she tagged the author in these things, which she hadn't. And then she's accused of being bitter, that she was unfollowed. She's accused of a bunch more, like, social media related things, which I won't focus on because I want to focus on the author-reader relationship.
Yeah.
And Larry posted a response saying that Rena has the right to unfollow whoever she wants to. People in the comments of that video and in response are saying that Larry should have never posted the negative review to begin with, as Rena should have never had to see that. It was cruel of her to post that, and so I want to talk about the differences in reader and author spaces, as well as what big creators should and shouldn't do in those spaces.
Okay.
Because it's one of the things about the comments on the video for Larry's video, like the thing where, like, Rena unfollowed her, was like Larry was supposed, like, allegedly, like, liking these comments that Rena Kent was immature for unfollowing Larry for the one bad review she had. Because Larry was, like, a big champion of Rena Kent. She had obviously, like, the tattoo, and had a lot of, like, favorite books from her.
Yeah.
So there was I think a few comments that were like, all right, Rena, can't handle much, can ya?
Yeah, because if you put anything out for the general public, it's not all hits are home runs.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting she kind of got so much backlash for this.
Yeah.
I thought the video was hilarious.
Yeah.
As both a writer and a reader, I didn't think it was in poor taste.
If it was done in humor.
And to me, it was very obvious it was in humor, but I think a lot of people took it very, very seriously, which I found was interesting when you're, like miming, like, hitting a window.
Yeah.
But hey, you never know. I mean, is what it is. She also didn't understand how people didn't. She was like, I didn't really think I was going to have to explain that this was satire, but
I honestly enjoy seeing people who say, like, I didn't really like it, and this is why. Because maybe I don't like a book for those same reasons.
I fully agree with it. You have the right to have that opinion as a reader.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's right to say that Rena was immature for unfollowing Larry. I do. First of all, they didn't have a personal relationship.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was, like, breaking up a business or personal relationship. She unfollowed her on Instagram, which is not as big of a deal as everybody thinks it is.
No.
That's a reason. There's a reason that Larry was making a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't friends.
No.
Rena, I think, as a person, always has the right to unfollow. I don't think Rena was immature to unfollow, because when you put so much into a project, it can hurt.
Yeah.
It wasn't just seeing that video. That video got a solid amount of likes. Like thousands of likes. And when you spend a year, a couple of years on a project and you put it out in the world, and then you see a video that's like, hey, I could not read this. This was not good. I could not read this. And then you see it gets thousands of likes. You'd be like, all right, for my self-esteem, I might not need to see this anymore.
Well, immature would be making a retaliation video.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it might have been Rita going, oh, you're a book reviewer. Sorry. I can't do this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes you follow people on Instagram and then you go, ooh, never mind. I can't see that for my own self. Like, I didn't really realize what was going on. You know? I don't think that was immature. And I don't think Larry was in the wrong either. I don't think anything really wrong happened. I think what was horrible was the reaction of everyone else. Especially people outside of the book space who were like, ugh. This is just women. This was a weird pitting women against each other thing.
Yeah.
That I don't understand.
Yeah. And there was no beefing.
Between them, no.
Exactly. Because unfriending isn't beefing. It's just not.
I do find it interesting that it was like an immediate, like, you have no right to express your opinion. And I think this is one of those times where it's like, what's the difference between bullying and a negative opinion? You know? Like, what's the difference between, like, bullying someone and just criticizing someone? What's the difference? Like, where's the line and what are we doing? She didn't tag the author in the original video. But I just thought it was wild that this was like a huge, it's a big deal. Like, to the point that, like, I found out about this and now the commentary YouTubers that I follow that, like, have nothing to do with the book space are talking about this.
Ooh, I'm excited.
And I'm like, bro, like, do you know who Marky is?
I believe so. It sounds familiar.
He's a British guy.
Oh, with the glasses?
No.
Okay.
I think that's Eye-Napper. But he covered this, and I was like, Adam Sandler, what are you doing here? Waiting for them to play Gangnam Style. It was so wild. And he was like, yeah, I don't think she should have posted the negative review in the first place. And I said,
wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
Who are you?
Kind of. Like, I think it's interesting when people outside of, like, the book space and people that don't really read books often are like, I don't think you should be doing that. Like, I don't think you should be posting negative reviews. I said,
why?
Broseph, how do you know if you're going to read a book?
Yeah. From
positive reviews? That's great. You read one book a year. How am I? All the positive reviews sound the same.
Yeah.
And I am guilty of it too. If I post a positive review, it sounds the same.
Yeah.
It sounds the same as all the other positive reviews. I know it does.
Yeah.
I'm aware it does. Because when you gush about something, you sound like every other idiot who's in love with something.
Well, if I were to give it, put it into a different industry, like when I'm going to buy clothes, if I'm kind of sketched out by the sizing. Like, I'm like, this should fit. I don't know. I'll go to the comments to look at the negative reviews to be like, oh, it ran too short consistently, or like it had a weird dropped waist or something. I don't know. But like, I want to know what's wrong to see if it matches my concerns.
Yeah.
Which, like, I like it when people are like, this book,
Well, and I think you can do it in anything, like food.
Yeah. Restaurant reviews?
Well, not even, just people in my family. I know who has similar taste to me and who doesn't. I will not take whatever recommendation my grandmother has. That woman could not have further taste from me. So if she gives something a positive review, there's only about a 12% chance I'll like it. If she gives something a negative review, there's about a 74% chance that I'll like it. However, if my mom likes something and she gives it a negative review, or like she gives it a positive review, I'll probably like it. If she gives it a negative review, no, I won't like it. But why she gives it a negative review matters. Because there's certain things that I know we match up with.
Yeah.
You know? So like, and that's the thing about book reviews, I think. They really matter because they are so specific. Like, negative book reviews is are always way more specific.
Yeah.
And like Larry's book review is like, hey, I couldn't do it. I don't really like it. Also, they're starting to feel like way the same.
Yeah.
If you're like, I just want the same, because I've been in that mood where I'm like, I just want to read the same thing. I don't have the brain capacity for something new. I just want to read the same thing.
Yep.
That would be a positive for you.
Yeah.
So it's not as serious of a topic, and I couldn't handle the serious topic, especially not right now, but I just thought it was interesting that we chose to attack a book reviewer.
Yeah. For a book review?
When we chose to attack a book reviewer when our government's doing what it's doing.
Honestly, I would too, though. That's too much to handle. You know?
How about instead of attacking let's do this. Instead of attacking Larry, why don't you go to Reb for the rebrand? She's a lawyer. She's the one that does the reading iconic court transcripts. She's amazing. And what she's doing right now is giving us all the information we could possibly need in the funniest way possible, and also telling us who to support and how to support them. Do that. Do that. If you're on TikTok, go to Reb for the rebrand, because she'll be linked in the description, because she's amazing, and she'll tell you where to actually spend your time. And if you're gonna type out that comment instead, why don't you type out the letter that we should send to the people that she says that you should send it to. I think that's a much better use of our time.
Yeah.
Instead of whatever you were gonna say to the 20-something who's just trying to live her life. Yeah. Simply living her life.
Yeah.
And not actually harming anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe we should help the people that are legitimately being harmed.
Life be wild.
Life be wild.
Life be wild.
I think that's it from us.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Oh. Are we going to say what we're going to read?
Oh. We don't know what we're going to read. Oh,
yeah,
we do know what we're going to read.
For once in our life. I'm kidding. We always know what we're going to read.
For once in our life.
It feels like for
Not
once
me.
in our life.
I have a note in my phone called book notes, and I keep constantly like clicking on it, and then I open it, and I'm like, oh, that's for the book I'm writing. And the amount of pissed I get for it.
Unnecessary. That's funny.
Oh, we're reading. I'm so excited for what we're reading next, and I fully forgot about it. The fact that I forgot we were reading this was on Kindle the other day, and put this in the list for like the possibilities of what we could read.
Already on there.
We are reading Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah. So next week we will see you with Book Bites for the next chapters of Zodiac Academy. The week after that we will see you for Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez.